Hello, everybody. My name is Ali Hussain. I am the assistant professor at the Cronkite School Digital Audience Engagement Program. I'm happy to share with you a brief overview about my favorite theory, which is the theory of planned behavior. It's quite an old theory proposed in 1975 by Isaac and Fishbein. Um, to basically understand the theory, the model, we have to look into it backwards, which starts from the right, the behavior, and then which is driven by the intention to perform the behavior, and which is then further goes backwards to understand what are the variables influencing the intention. So the theory is trying to predict why we perform certain behaviors, whichever behavior it is. It could be buying a car, it could be going on a vacation, it could be enrolling in a class, it could be going for any health related behavior, or any environmental behavior. So the behavior I took for my thesis was help seeking for depression. And I was trying to understand why people and how people can go and seek help when they are feeling low, when they're feeling sad. Now, this behavior is very hard to measure because I cannot follow people and go and ask them whether they went to a counseling center or whether they talked to a friend or family or not. So we usually measure the one in the blue box, which is the intention to go and seek help. And this is usually measured by asking people questions like, on a scale from 1 to 7, how likely are you to go and seek help from a counselor? What is your intention to go and talk to a friend or family member when you are feeling low and sad? So we measure the intention. And when people have high intention, then they are also more likely to go and seek help, which is the real behavior or the action. Um, the intention is primarily based on three important variables. One of them is attitude. Now, attitude can be of two main types. It could be a positive attitude and it could be a negative attitude. A positive attitude is when someone looks into the behavioral intention in a positive outlook. Like, for example, they can say, I like going to the counseling center. I enjoy attending a counseling center. I enjoy talking, or I find it helpful to go and seek help for depression. And I find it helpful to go and talk to a friend or family member. So all of these things are positive attitudes which feeds into an intention to go and seek help. But intention to perform a behavior is not only dependent on attitude, it is also dependent on subjective norms. Now, norms, as we see around, the social norms, like the values, what people think is an appropriate thing to do, what is suitable to do, how other people are doing it, and all of these things, what people think should be done. So, these are all the norms. So, you can ask this through questions like, people like me approve of me to go and seek help from a counseling center. Um, Generally, people think it's a good idea to go and talk to a friend or family member when they are feeling depressed. So you understand the point that it's primarily about measuring the norms, the social norms and values around it. And then the last one is also very important: perceived behavioral control. In other words, it means your ability to go and seek help. You have the self-efficacy to perform a behavior. Um, that also means that you have the financial ability, you have the physical ability, you have the access to a counselor or a help seeking resource. So when people have this ability and they have this access to resources, then they are also more likely to go and seek help. But when it is too expensive, when it is too far away, when it is not possible, other thing, then the perceived behavioral control goes down, and the intention to go and seek help also goes down. So based on these three things, we can determine whether somebody has an intention to perform a particular action, which will be measured by measuring whether they perform the action or not. Now, you may question, and it's a very right question, that from where the attitude, norms, and perceived behavior control comes from. And this takes us to the leftmost side of the theory model, which is beliefs, behavioral beliefs, normative beliefs, and control beliefs. Usually we do whatever we believe in. So when people have a behavioral belief about help seeking, then they will have the attitude about it. And depending on what they believe in, whether they believe in yes or no, they will have an attitude positive or negative, and they will have an intention high or low. Normative beliefs, whether people agree with these norms and values, based on these beliefs, they will have some kind of an assessment of these norms. And based on the control beliefs, whether they think that they have the resources, or they can acquire the resources, or they can gather these resources, financial resources, or some kind of resources to seek help, will form their perceived control over performing this action, which will form the intention and eventually the behavior. So that was a quick nutshell summary of theory of planned behavior. I am happy to talk to you more about it. Thank you very much. Have a great day.